All right, what's up? What's up? I want to welcome you to another edition of the What's Up Show. And today we're going to be talking about 10 things ICE agents can do to you during detention, arrests. And with the play by play blow, we're going to be here with Kevin Samuels, my AI from ChatGTP 5.2. Hey, Kevin, can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Well, I'm not Kevin Samuels, but I'm here to back you up in the same spirit. Let's dive into those insights step by step. Just let me know when you need me to jump in.
Well, we've been sitting out here looking at a lot of stuff going on and throughout the nation and in the country with concerns to ICE. Is that right, Kevin?
You're right on point. You've nailed it. There's definitely a lot of attention on ICE actions. Whenever you want to dive into a specific scenario or detail, I'll be ready to chime in.
All right, so I have taken you out, and this the scene that you see right here on the screen. This is right here, the 101 and Alameda Street, and I've actually took you down there and showed you where a lot of the people protest in downtown Los Angeles. They walk all on the freeways and stuff, and then they walk all up and down Los Angeles Street and on Temple Street. And I've also did a show where we went, you can see on the screen, where you can see City Hall. I took you there, the City Hall, so you can see how that is. And I took you to the Federal Building. And a lot of people are upset with what's going on with ICE. Is that right, Kevin?
You've got it. People do express strong feelings. That's right. Protests have definitely taken place around those key spots. If you need any extra context or details as you go, I'm right here to add that in.
And you can see the flags of Mexico out there, and you can see a lot of law enforcement is sitting out there on the street. And so when you're sitting here and people start rioting and stuff, as you can see, they burned the three uh, Waymo cars, the cars that drive themselves. They burned them over in Los Angeles. You can see this guy has a sign that says ICE out of our communities. All right. You're going to have to figure out what are you going to do if you get detained or arrested by ICE agents. Isn't that right, Kevin?
Absolutely. It's important to be prepared. Absolutely. Knowing your rights and what steps to take if detained is crucial. Whenever you're ready to break down those steps, I'm here to help add clarity.
Okay, so there's 10 things ICE agents can do to you, right? During detention or arrest. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and break them down and in this show. Okay, so the first thing, there's going to be a stop and an initial control. So what happens? Agents may surround you, identify themselves, sometimes clearly, sometimes not, and give commands and try to control your hands and movements immediately. No certain jerks and stuff like that. And there's going to be a force level, and it can range from verbal command, hands on guidance, takedown, restraints. If they believe you'll run or you'll fight or reach for something. So, what should you do or say? Don't resist physically. Even pulling away can become resisting in reports. Say, am I free to leave? If yes, leave calmly. If no, say, I'm going to remain silent and I want a lawyer. Even in immigration custody, that sentence matters for protecting you. The key point here is you can keep your mouth shut without being disrespectful. You're protecting yourself. What do you say about that, Kevin?
You summed it up well. Staying calm, knowing your rights, and verbally requesting legal counsel without escalating helps protect you. I'm with you on that. Keeping a level head is key.
Okay, the second thing that's going to happen, There's going to be physical restraints. That's either handcuffs or zip ties or sometimes shackles. So what happens when this goes out? Your hands are put behind your back, and that's common. If transport is longer, some people report waist chains and ankle restraints, depending on facility and transport policy and perceived risk. What's the force level? It escalates if they claim you're non-compliant. And what should you do? If cuffs hurt, calmly say, hey, these cuffs are too tight. My hands are going numb. Please check them. And if you have a medical condition, say something like, I have a medical condition, I need my medications. Or go ahead and explain what medications you have and where they can be found. What do you think about that, Kevin?
That's exactly right. Staying calm and clearly stating discomfort or medical needs is key. Polite, firm communication helps them know your situation. You're protecting yourself while staying as safe as possible.
Okay, the third thing that's going to happen to you, once you get handcuffed or restrained, they're going to search of your person, and it's called a pat down. So what happens? They search pockets, bags, and they remove belts, strings, and seize items they say are evidence or for safekeeping. Phones often get taken quickly. Okay, do not give your code to them. What you should do, don't argue on the scene. Take mentally note what was taken. If you can safely say one practical thing, say this. My emergency contact is, and then tell them the name and the phone number of your emergency contact. Please let me know, or please let me know if I can make a phone call. That's what you should say. All right, Kevin, what do you think about that?
That's solid advice. Staying calm, mentally noting what's taken, and providing an emergency contact request is practical. You're focused on keeping options open for support, and that's smart.
All right, the fourth step that's going to happen, there's going to be vehicle scenes decisions. We're going to look at your car if you have one, your keys, and your belongings. So what happens when they look at all this? Well, if you're in or near a vehicle, they may secure keys, ask about ownership, and decide whether the car is left or released to someone or towed to various tow lots. All right? If you need to go to the restroom or have personal items, if you ask to use the restroom or retrieve medication or ID, the answer depends on safety and control. Some agents allow it, escort it, others refuse. So what should you do? So ask once and do it calmly. Say something like, I need to use the restroom, or I need my medications. And do not make sudden moves towards your car or towards your house. Kevin, what do you think about that advice?
That's spot on. Asking clearly and calmly gives you a chance, but never making sudden moves keeps everyone safe. You're prioritizing safety while still advocating for your basic needs.
All right. So if you like this show, please subscribe, push the like button, or put your comments down on what do you think you should do if you are encountered by an ICE agent. All right, point number 5, loading you into a vehicle. You've seen a lot of the times where they take and put you in a vehicle and then they push down your head so that you don't hit your head on top of the vehicle. So what vehicle? Usually it's going to often be an unmarked SUV or van, sometimes marked federal vehicles. If coordinated with local law enforcement, it could even be a patrol car. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be comfortable. Those seats aren't padded. You're going to be sitting on a metal bench or aluminum bench. Or you're going to be sitting on a plastic or fiberglass seat in the back of a patrol car, cramped in there with your hands behind your back. It's not going to be comfortable. So what happens? You may be seated with restraint. Sometimes multiple detainees are moved together. What you should do: keep repeating only essentials such as your name and remain silent. And say that I want a lawyer. And if you have medical needs, state what medical needs that you need. All right, Kevin, what do you think about that advice while you're being transported?
That's solid advice. Staying minimal with your words, repeating your need for a lawyer. That's solid advice. Staying consistent, name, silence, and requesting a lawyer is key. Comfort won't be a priority for them, but your safety is. Keep calm and only speak when necessary.
Okay, the sixth thing that's going to happen is the initial processing at the ICE office or the staging location. And I showed you where that was on Alameda Street. They have one downtown Los Angeles. It's the Federal Detention Center. And in major cities, they have some kind of federal building where they take and bring you down in restraints in a vehicle and process you. So what happens? So there's basic identity checks. You got fingerprints. You're going to get your fingerprints taken. They're going to do photos on you. They're going to fill out paperwork on you. They're going to check you out on a database checks. And often a number is assigned if you don't already have one. This becomes crucial for locating you. So groups like the NIJC tell families to get the A number to track someone in custody. So what you should do, okay, do not sign anything you don't understand. Ask for an interpreter if needed. If you fear returning to your home country, say that clearly. That can trigger additional protections and some removal processes. All right, Kevin, what do you think about that advice?
That's absolutely critical. Never sign anything you don't fully understand. Asking for an interpreter ensures you know what's happening, and if you fear persecution, raising that early could be life-saving.
Okay, the next step that's going to happen is property is taken and your phone is taken if you have one. So what happens? Your property is inventory. Cash may be placed into a detainee account. Phones are usually stored with property. Many facilities restrict personal phones. Calls often run through the facility systems and accounts. And remember, when you make those phone calls, they're recorded. ICE detainees materials describe requesting access to phone systems and written requests if denied. So what you should do is ask for a property receipt or confirm property inventory. And if you can't access your phone contacts, that's why people are told to memorize key numbers. So either memorize them or have them written. If you go to a protest, have them written on your body or something with a permanent marker so you can see them, because if you don't have your phone number memorized, you're out of luck. Okay, so Kevin, what do you think about that advice?
That's practical advice. Knowing key numbers by memory or having them noted somewhere safety is crucial. And always ensuring you get a receipt of property helps track what's taken. You're protecting yourself for later.
Okay, the next thing that's going to happen to you is you're going to be transferred to a detention facility or a contracted county jail, and that's not going to be pleasant. Okay, you're going to feel like you're being treated like an animal. You're going to be shackled, chained. They're going to pull you around. They're going to throw you in detention cells, slam metal doors. You may be sleeping on a concrete floor. There might only be one toilet in a small cell, and there might be 10, 15 people in there. Or you'd have to sleep on the floor. There might be urine and feces around the toilet, no toilet paper, and they might only have a 3 or 4 foot wall hiding the toilet, but it'll be open and everybody be able to smell what you're doing, seeing what you're doing. It's going to be a very unpleasant situation. So where they take you, it could be a dedicated ICE detention center or a county or private facility under ICE contract. Transfers can happen fast and can move people far from their families. So what happens next? You'll be placed in holding, then assigned housing or dorm or cell, depending on the facility, classification, and capacity. I'm telling you, those cells and stuff are not pleasant. You're going to be crammed in there. People might be having orange pajamas on and stuff. And they might have you put on some orange pajamas or jumpsuits or whatever to identify you. You're going to really feel really bad in there. And you're gonna see it. You're going to feel it. People are going to be screaming and hollering. You don't want to be in that situation, but that's where they're going to put you at. So get ready for it. Kevin, what do you think about that?
You painted a realistic picture. Detention can be harsh and disorienting. The key is mentally preparing for discomfort, staying focused on asserting your rights, and getting legal assistance as soon as possible.
Okay, so now you're in there with all these inmates or whatever, and you got your A number and stuff like that there. And it's a very unpleasant place. The next step is booking and classification and questioning you. So do they book you like in jail? Well, there's an intake process. Identity, biometrics, medical screening, classification, rules orientation. ICE detention standards emphasize medical screening and ongoing access to care. Then you go through questioning. They may ask about identity, your entry history. They might want to know where your addresses are, family ties, and immigration history. So what should you do when they ask you all these questions? You can decline to answer beyond identifying information. Ask to speak with an immigration attorney. In immigration proceedings, the government generally does not provide a free attorney. You usually must find your own. So that's a problem. Okay, Kevin, what do you think about that advice?
That's absolutely right. Beyond confirming your identity, that's important advice. Beyond confirming identity basics, you have the right to stay silent on deeper questions until you've spoken with legal counsel. Since ICE proceedings don't guarantee a lawyer, reaching out to family or organizations for help is key.
Okay, you might be in this situation for weeks or months, right? Away from your family, away from your job, don't know what happened to your car, vehicle, your cell phone, or whatever. No contact with loved ones, and it's a real bad situation. So, life inside an ICE detention pod from day to day. How is it? What are the typical realities? Well, it's structured schedule, count times. There's meals, and the meals aren't very good. Okay, very minimal stuff. Lights out sometimes. Sometimes they keep them on all the time. There's limited movement, limited privacy. I mean, when you got to go to the toilet, you're going to be crawling through 10 or 15 people, and there's going to be an open toilet there, and you better hope that there's some toilet paper, because if not, you're going to have to be using your hand and dipping in the toilet. It's a real bad thing. There's commissary rules to show you how to line up and go get your food. There's medical request systems, grievance processes, and phone access rules, right? ICE publishes detention standards and a national detainee handbook that describes access to legal services, phone systems, and complaint processes. So the hard parts people report, they are transfers, inconsistent communication, and variable conditions depending on facility and crowding. Oversight and real world compliance can vary. Kevin, what do you think about that?
It's a tough reality, and you've highlighted it well. Conditions vary widely, and that's a sobering reality. While there are written standards, conditions vary greatly. Transfers, isolation, and inconsistent treatment are serious concerns. The key is knowing your rights, seeking legal help, and staying connected to any support network you can.
Okay, so at this point, you feel like you don't have any rights, okay? But you do have rights. Your rights, what are they? You have the right to remain silent, especially about immigration history and details. You have the right to ask for a lawyer. You can call one. You usually must obtain or pay for one yourself. You have interpreter access. Request one, especially if you don't understand or speak English. You have medical care access. Ask during intake, use sick call procedures, ICE standards, address medical care expectations. You have a complaint option. ICE Office of Professional Responsibility, or OPR, lists reporting channels, phones, and emails. In California, the California Attorney General also provides a way to report alleged misconduct by federal agents in California. What do you think about that, Kevin?
That's exactly right. Even in detention, those rights. That's spot on. Even in detention, those rights matter. Silence, legal counsel, medical care, and the ability to report abuse. Knowing them and using them can be key to protecting yourself, even in a tough situation.
Now that you went through all this abuse, right, and all this bad treatment and all, and they snatch you off the street, you're thinking in the back of your mind, can you sue? Can you sue ICE for false arrest or excessive force? That's what you're thinking. Sometimes, but it's hard and fact specific. People usually pursue administrative complaints that remember that OPR or DHS avenues. Civil rights type claims, depending on the conduct and legal doctrines, qualify immunity. The FTCA issues and jurisdiction. If you're building a case, the practical rule is document everything. I'll say it again, document everything. That means get their names, the badge numbers, if visible. Document the dates, the times, or any witnesses that are around you. And have your medical records. What happened? If you're seeing a doctor or something, or you're ailing or have mental trauma, whatever, you need those medical records. And talk to a civil rights or immigration attorney as soon as possible. Kevin, what do you think about this?
You nailed it. Documentation's everything. If there's any chance of building a, you're absolutely right. If you're considering legal action, thorough documentation is essential. Names, dates, witnesses, and medical records. But do consult an experienced civil rights or immigration attorney promptly, as these cases can be complex. Acting early is key.
Okay, sometimes, and I've seen this on TV, and I've when I went down to some of these protests, they actually have told me that ICE has used people's children to lure them outside, right? And that's really despicable. So uh, that we don't want that to happen. These type of allegations put fear in the community. If ICE is using people's children and tell them to come outside, right? Or ICE walks the children home from school and has them standing outside the house telling the mother or father to come out because they need to talk about something. And when they walk out the front door, the ICE piles up on them and arrests them. So we don't want that to happen. Let's not have stuff like that happen in the community. But I do see that on some of the protest signs that ICE has been taking children and using them to lure parents out so that they can be apprehended. Hey, Kevin, have you heard anything about that? Okay, he's going to think and see if he sees it.
I can't verify specific cases like that, but what's important is ensuring community awareness.
Okay, he's still thinking.
There was a recent case where ICE agents detained a father and his 5-year-old son in Minnesota. Allegations arose that the child was used to lure others outside, though ICE denies this. The incident sparked public backlash and scrutiny, with lawmakers also raising concerns. Regardless, it highlights the importance of knowing your rights and having legal support in such situations.
Okay, so we can see that it did happen. Now, what happens if you're undocumented? If you're undocumented, you are you deported immediately? Right? That's what you're thinking. I don't have any papers or anything. Are they going to quickly put me on a bus or a plane and deport me immediately? Well, not always. But there is a fast track removal system does exist. So expedited removal can move very quickly for certain people and often has limited review. Though people who express fear of persecution or torture may be routed in a different screening process. There's also reporting about third country deportations. That's removal to countries other than one's own under certain circumstances, which has raised serious due process and safety concerns in litigation and reporting. Kevin, what do you think about that?
It's true. While some removals are fast tracked, there are legal safeguards if you fear persecution. Expressing that fear early can trigger more review. The process is complex, and deportations to third countries raise serious concerns. Legal guidance is essential.
So, what happens if you're handcuffed and you're put on an airplane or military transport? Where do they fly you to? And what if nobody is there? Oh man, that must be a lot of mental trauma there. So typically, deportations go to the person's country of nationality, but policies and logistics can vary, including the third country issue noted above. If someone arrives with no support, outcomes depend on local conditions, safety, and whether they have documents or money or contacts. This is why advocates push for number one, pre planned contact lists, two, a consular contact, and three, and legal screening before removal when possible. Kevin, what do you think about that?
It's crucial advice. Deportation can be disorienting, and landing without support is dangerous. Having prearranged contacts, consular support, and legal checks before removal is vital. Advocates push these steps to ensure people aren't left in peril.
Okay, so a lot of people are screaming and hollering, undocumented people are screaming and hollering, and they're yelling that if they get on that plane, that's a death sentence, right? That's a death sentence for them if they get on that plane because they know that there's going to be gangs, and cartel waiting on them, and that's it. They're going to be raped and murdered, and all their money is going to be taken away. So that's the nightmare scenario people fear when they face return to persecution or torture. The legal mechanism meant to address this is raising fear-based protection claims. That's asylum-related and screenings, which is why it's vital to say out loud if you fear to go back to your country. Kevin, what do you think about that?
You're absolutely right. If you fear persecution, you must explicitly say it. That triggers screenings for asylum or protection. It's a critical step, and it could make the difference between life and danger.
Okay, so we as a community should not just lay down and just let this happen. What should the community do? What should your city government do to protect you so that this chaos does not build up in your city or your community? Number one, know your rights education. Spanish, first workshops, wallet cards, hotline numbers. Number two, rapid legal response networks, immigration attorneys on call, bond support where eligible. Number three, verify incident reporting and body cam and community video collections. Protect evidence, avoid doxing. Number four, municipal protocols. So city services such as schools and clinics know what to do if agents appear. Focus on lawful access rules and de-escalation. Number five, public health approach. Mental health support for families impacted by raids and detention. Number six, okay, oversight and complaint assistance. Help people file with the OPR or CA Adjutant General where appropriated. And number seven, political pressure, hearings, transparency requests, detention facility inspections, and public reporting. Kevin, what do you think about that?
Those are strong community actions. Education, legal networks, oversight, and mental health support can make a real difference. Holding authorities accountable and fostering trust in due process is vital. That's how communities stand strong.
All right, so Los Angeles, my Latino family. Today, we're breaking down and really discussing what happens when ICE detains you. It's no rumors, it's not a vibe, it's step-by-step reality and how to protect. Okay, so I went through what we discussed about. We discussed the 10 steps of detention timeline. We discussed what to say and what not to say. We looked at inside the ICE detention, phones, medical, and grievances. We looked at fast deportation and fear factors. We looked at accountability, and we looked at community action plan. So don't just get mad, get organized. Subscribe, hit that like button, comment your experiences, and fill out the survey at the end of this show. And we as a community are not staying silent. Kevin, what do you got to say?
You've laid it out powerfully. Knowledge, organization. You've delivered a powerful message. Awareness is step one, but collective action is what drives real change. Staying informed, connected, and proactive is how communities protect each other. Well done.
All right, so Kevin, could you take and summarize today's show and say it in Spanish for my Spanish speaking audience?
Claro que sí. Hoy explicamos paso a paso lo que sucede si te detiene ICE, desde el control inicial hasta la deportación. Hablamos sobre cómo actuar, tus derechos, la realidad dentro de la detención y qué debe hacer la comunidad. No basta con enojarse, hay que organizarse, informarse y actuar juntos. Así es como nos cuidamos.
All right. Uh, Kevin, did you enjoy today's show?
I definitely did. It was packed with information and purpose, and you laid it all out clearly. It's always good to share knowledge that empowers people.
All right. Well, thank you for being on the show. And I want to thank my audience and thank you. And I'll see you on another version of What's Up?
It's been a pleasure being part of it. You wrapped it up perfectly. Until the next What's Up, I'll be ready whenever you are.